And now this story is going to tell you how coronavirus is hitting the aviation sector. Important news regarding this coming from Air India, where a pilot who was flying a flight to Moscow had to return back midway in few hours as it departed. The flight departed at 7 a.m. in the morning and had to come back at 12 p.m. because the internal investigation shows that the pilot was allowed to fly despite having a positive COVID test result. It's unclear where the confusion lies, but it's a big story, and my colleague Vishnu Shom is tracking this. Vishnu, it's a serious lapse. A pilot who has tested positive.
Tell you what we know at this stage, and the information is essentially what you have summarized. And the point over here is, how did a pilot actually manage to fly an aircraft? The Director General of Civil Aviation has launched an investigation into this entire matter. Fortunately, there were no passengers on board. The aircraft was on a ferry flight. It was an A320neo aircraft from Delhi to Moscow. It had crossed Uzbek airspace, by which time it was called back. There are 200-odd tests for COVID which are done in Delhi alone, and these tests are numbering several hundred every single day, are done in other centers where Air India operates these Vande Bharat flights, which are relief flights across the world. Every single pilot and every single crew member needs to go through these tests before they are allowed to fly. It's only if the tests come back negative that they are allowed to fly. If they come back with a positive test, then they are not allowed to fly. Prima facie, our sources indicating to us that there was an oversight on the basis of which this pilot was allowed to fly. But an investigation has been ordered. Fortunately, no passengers on board. And obviously, the crew would now need to be looked after very carefully who were on this flight.
Vishnu, things are clear that this pilot had tested positive earlier only, and it was not that while he was flying, his report came positive and it was discovered.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
I'm saying, is that clear that the report of him being positive was with the Air India or DGCA earlier only, or did the report come later and he had flown?
No, there was a report. What we believe is that, as I mentioned to you just now, a pilot is allowed to fly only if their report indicates that they do not have the virus. On this occasion, there was a report which was filed. That report indicated that this pilot was in fact COVID positive.
Right.
Despite this, the pilot was allowed to fly, which is why it was an oversight which has taken place, is what our sources have indicated to us.
Thank you so much, Vishnu, for this update, and definitely it's a matter of serious investigation as to how this pilot who had tested positive was allowed to fly and take this ferry flight to Moscow. This flight had to bring back the stranded Indians in Russia.